Okay, here we are. The Tillotson DY9, the base carburetor for just about all of our Crosleys. Some of the Crosleys did use the WO carter. I do have that on some of the cars. I especially like the WO carter on my sedan delivery that has the performance engine in it, because the camshaft in that thing needed a little more fuel than the Tillotson could deliver. Tillotson's around 90 CFM and Carter's around 110, so you can see the difference there. A little more gas going in there to feed that camshaft. What I'm going to do is sort of a two-parter here. I'll take the carburetor apart, so this video will be mostly about disassembly, show you some things you can do to not get yourself in trouble. So I'll just go along. I'll make comments as we go. Bear with me. We're going to go. Now, first thing you want to do is take this upper adjustment screw out. Have you one of these handy dandy little things from Harbor Freight laying around? They were giving those things away every time you went in there when they first opened, and I got tons of them. The brass doesn't stick to it, but at least it's a place to put stuff. Now, inside, and I doubt, oh yeah, there you see it. Right there, that's your idle tube. Where a lot of the folks make mistakes is they try to split the top of this off without taking the idle tube out. And if you do that, you wreck that idle tube, and you're in the trade what we call SOL. And sometimes idle tubes are kind of easy to find, but most of the time they are not easy to find, so you surely don't want to wreck it. Full disclosure, I rebuilt this carburetor a couple, 3 years ago, so it's going to be easy to take apart, but at least you'll learn. This was, at the time, a new idle tube that I got from Dave Edwards. You can see it there. Ta-da. And you don't want to mess up that little screw slot right there. That's what gets you in trouble. Put that away. Now we're ready to get the top off of it. And I'll just talk while I'm taking these screws out. The Tillotson is a very simple carburetor to work on if you follow the rules and read the instructions. And I'll add this part in right now. If you're messing around with Crosleys and you do not have the service manual, I don't know that there's any hope for you. You need the service manual. Everything I'm showing you is in the service manual. Maybe not always easy to understand, but it is in the service manual. It's the best $20 you'll ever spend, and I don't have a clue how you could have a Crosley and not have a service manual. So call Service Motors and order one. Don't mess around. Yeah, we'll help you on Facebook and through video stuff all we can, but we're not always going to be there when you need us, so get the service manual. I think I've got, well, I think I had 4 copies of it. They get so oil stained that after a while I have to get another one, and I pass on the worn out ones to guys that maybe aren't as in a good position to buy one, and try to keep them going, but they can still read the instructions. That's the important thing. Okay, we got the last screw here. There's one more thing after this last screw you got to do too, so hang on. Now, right there, you see the little pin. You got to get that off and get that linkage off of there. You can't take it apart. So we're going to get that off. Pull the linkage off. Right now, I'm just going to leave the linkage on the bottom. We'll get to that stuff later. All right. Now, I'm going to, there we go. By the way, there's a pin on either side of that link, which I forgot about. So now I got both of them off. We're good to go. Now, this is the float chamber. Your needle and everything's inside of that. We'll get into that here in a minute. I want to show you this. I know for a fact I cleaned this and rebuilt this not more than 2 years ago. It was on my Can't remember which car it was on. I replaced it with a WO. Look at the inside of that. Now what that is, and that crap in there will surely screw up your carburetor. That is the pot metal in these carburetors. I don't care who you get your gas from, there's going to be some water in it. That water corrodes and oxidizes this pot metal, and you get that. Now, that's going to be cleaned up before this thing goes back together. You can bet on that. Now, I'm going to take the lower unit apart here. Now, you can see right there, that is a 3/8. But right now, don't take that apart. Get you a 1/2 inch and take this whole unit out as in one piece, see, like that. Put that aside. Now, in your rebuild kit, you'll have the new gasket right here. And I think they'd still come with the packing that goes inside this gland right here. That is just a packing. As you turn this, it prevents it from leaking, see. Your kit will have that in it. Now, inside of that bottom one is another jet. We're going to get it out. That idle tube I took out at first, boys and girls, that thing can be a real pain to get out. I have actually, on some of them, I've had to drill it out and then chase the threads. Those threads are, if I remember rightly, they're something like a quarter 30, and you won't find that just anywhere. You'll have to go to a hobby shop or somewhere where they sell parts for gas-powered model airplanes, and the glow plugs on those is that same tap size. But if you're careful, you can get it out of there. Sometimes I take a soldering iron, just a tip, and push on, heat it up real good, and then break it loose, maybe with a little penetrating on. Excuse me. Now, this is the bottom piece. You see the two holes? You got two holes on either side. See? Okay. Just a little side info. If I'm not mistaken, in my pre-war, that is a DY9. That same piece in there only has one hole on each side, so it doesn't need as much fuel. All right, we got that. Now, I'm going to leave this linkage and everything alone. If you're doing just a basic rebuild, you don't really need to fool with that. I'd had it all apart, as you can see in here, because I took the butterflies and everything out, cleaned them up, and put it all back together. So we won't deal with that on this video. Now, on this part, before I put it aside, there's one more little item, and I'm going to get to it right now. All right. See that right there? Well, that is a Welch plug in there. Now, when I took this apart the first time, put it back together, I did not have a new Welch plug to put in it. So what I done, I pounded the old Welch plug back in it, and you got to punch a hole in those Welch plugs to get them out. That's what I'm getting to here. So what I did, I put the old Welch plug back in it, and then I sealed that hole I made in there to get it out, and that way it seals it up, and that's the most important thing. I don't recommend that, all the time, but it does work. All right, I'm going to stop this and get a punch.